morning, everybody. Welcome to Franklin Park, and I am delighted to be joined by Council Member Mary Che. Give Mary Che a big round of applause. And Paul Smith and Leif Dormshow and our entire DDOT team. Thank you, DDOT. I am very delighted to present to you some new buses that we have purchased, and we're going to talk a little bit about those buses, but also our great transit story at DDOT. It brings me pleasure and sadness to acknowledge the great work of our director of DDOT, but also wish him well in his next pursuits. Leif is going to be leaving us on August the 11th, but he has accomplished so much with a fantastic team at DDOT, and he's moving on to the private sector, but we couldn't be more thrilled with the work that he has done with us. I am also happy to name our interim leader at DDOT, Jeff Marootian, who serves as the deputy director at DDOT now, and we're very confident in Jeff's leadership as we search for DDOT's next director. So Jeff, congratulations. Where's Jeff? Jeff's behind me. Thanks, Jeff. So we are here today to celebrate an important investment in our public transit system. We are 40 new DC Circulator buses. So since the beginning of my term, my team and I have been committed to making our transit system safer and more reliable and more sustainable. Our new investment is helping us fulfill this commitment to Washingtonians and visitors who flock to the nation's capital every year. So let me say a couple of things about our new buses. First, we know that this investment in new vehicles will help us to improve the system's overall reliability. We're using them to replace the oldest vehicles in our fleet, many of which are reaching the end of their useful life. In a city as busy as ours, we know how important reliability and convenience are to make transit a realistic option. So DC Circulator is now serving over 5 million riders a year. And since 2005, we've seen the system expand from 2 routes to 6 routes with 136 stops. So the new buses that you see today and others that will be on the road later this year will help us continue to meet this growing demand. The second thing about the buses I want to mention is that they are equipped with the most advanced technology. Our team has ensured that each bus was manufactured to adapt to changing advancements in innovation. It will also be, these buses will be able to have future Wi-Fi services and future rear door boarding. Other vehicle additions include roof-mounted air conditioning, wider doors, lower to floor entrances, 32-inch wheelchair ramps, and USB ports for charging. And many of these additions are based on rider feedback. So I want to thank each and every one of our riders for helping us make these buses better. Lastly, I'm proud to say that our new circulator buses are helping us to secure our spot as the sustainability capital. They are more environmentally friendly. They use clean diesel technology to drastically reduce emissions. Director Dormshow is going to come up and tell you how we got here and how these buses are going to help us improve the system. And then we'll hear from our council member who chairs the council's Committee on Transportation and the Environment, Mary Che. Leif?
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. This is a big day for DC Circulator, for DDOT, for the district. As Mayor Bowser mentioned, our team has been diligently working to purchase new DC Circulator buses. We had a few goals at the outset. We wanted to ensure the new vehicles had a long, useful life. The new vehicles needed to be dependable. They need to help us enhance the DC Circulator system's reliability. They needed to be environmentally friendly. And first and foremost, the buses needed to help us make the district as safe as possible for the traveling public. After canvassing the industry, viewing the top models from various manufacturers, talking to other cities and jurisdictions, multiple vendors, our team determined that the new Flyer buses were the ideal addition to our fleet. And I have told Mayor Bowser these buses will achieve all of those goals. But the buses are just one element of our enhanced transit services.
It took Metro.
Welcome, Chairman Evans.
I took Metro. I'm sorry, I'm late.
Take Circulator next time. Our contract with the current service operator expires next year in 2018, and we have already begun a request for proposals process to open up a competition to get the most suitable operator possible to manage the DC Circulator system going forward. And we're being supported in that new solicitation process by WMATA. Paul Wiedefeld and I have agreed to a timeline to transition where DDOT will take direct control over future contracts managing the DC Circulator to eliminate the middleman, but also to use WMATA as an advisor going forward. In addition to that, we are on the hunt for a new maintenance and storage facility. This system has grown immensely over the last 12 years, and we need the facilities and the fleet to support the service that the public wants and demands. DDOT is committed to ensuring that DC Circulator continues to effectively serve this region in the years to come. When I first joined the agency, Mayor Bowser told me providing safer, smarter transportation was a top priority. This investment today is a major step forward in that goal. But our work doesn't end here. We're committed to prioritizing transit delivery. I want to specifically call out members of our DDOT team that helped in this effort. Sam Zimbabwe, Sean Egan, Circe Torreas, David Koch, Alistair Sampson, and also the man with the best name in the business, Cleveland. Many of them are already here today. Sam, we know, is getting some R&R, but he's with us in spirit. If you see any of the DDOT members today, please thank them. They put a lot of work into making sure that we got this procurement done the right way and that we have the benefit of these new vehicles today. I also want to thank Paul Smith and his team at New Flyer. Paul's the executive vice president who traveled all the way across the country to be here with us today, and we'll hear from him a little bit later. I wanted to thank Mayor Bowser for making transit a priority and fighting through the budget and our prioritization process to make sure that we had the resources to execute this important contract. And council members Che and Evans, who have been engaged partners from the earliest days of my tenure here at DDOT, asking tough questions, putting me through the paces at multiple performance and budget oversight hearings, but at the end of the day, making sure that the budgets that we adopt as a people have the resources to do the right things, and they've been great legislative partners in that regard. Last but not least, I do want to thank the customers of the DC Circulator system who have been patient through some of the last months where the equipment that we literally purchased in 2005, the legacy fleet, has been unreliable and has been difficult to achieve those high standards that we had expected. And with this new equipment, I think better days, brighter days, more reliable days are in front of us. So with that, I want to welcome Councilmember Che to the podium for some comments.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I want to join with Mayor Bowser and Councilmember Evans, too, and thank Director Dormsjo for his leadership You know, in terms of the circulator, I hope people realize that it was not only the streetcar issues that he had to confront, but the circulator and others among them. And he took the same approach. He looked at them head on and straightforwardly and honestly and said, look, we need to make repairs. We need to have a method whereby we're providing safe, reliable service to our customers, and we have to actually directly address the issue about repairs. And I'm very pleased that he's here today before he does depart so that we can have this event with the new circulator buses. These new circulator buses, as the mayor indicated, really combined two features, I think, about our government that we can all be proud of. First of all, innovation. Innovation and progress. These are buses that are state of the art, and the customers will enjoy them, and they will be safe buses. But also the environment. These buses will serve our sustainability goals, but also they will move us forward. And I think maybe probably one of the biggest orders in the nation for electric buses as we move in that direction as well. So since I have the Committee on Transportation and the Environment, it's like a double wonderful day for me, because both of our goals in transportation and the environment are extraordinarily well served by this batch of new buses. And again, I want to thank you, Director Dormsjo, for your leadership, and thank you, Mayor Bowser.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Evans, and Paul, I'm going to have you come up last. Councilmember Evans has joined us, and he's been very focused on transit in Ward 2.
Thank you, Mayor. How are you? Great to see you.
Fantastic. Great to see you.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Ward 2.
Thank you.
Right in Franklin Park, right in the heart of Ward 2. So it's great to have everyone here today. And I certainly want to recognize the best mayor in the entire country, Mayor Bowser. Thank you for being here today. And she is leader of the most dynamic city in America. My colleague on the council, the best council member from Ward 3, Mary Che. And my great friend who is leaving us, who has done he is the best Department of Transportation Director we have ever had. And I am so sorry he's leaving to go on, but he has done a fabulous job. Leif, thank you. Thank you for all you've done. It's been a real pleasure working with you. So I'm glad to be here on the circulator. You know, I was here when the first circulator started. I sat down with George Washington and we said, we need to get these people around Washington. Seriously. So we invented the circulator. That's a true story, though, the circulator. And then we had this thing called the Blue Bus in Georgetown. We merged that with the circulator. And then we came up with this whole transportation network around the city. And it worked really well, still does, but it's fallen into a little bit of disrepair. So today, these new buses that we're bringing on, as Councilmember Che talked about how great they are, energy efficient, et cetera, it's really going to make it a first-class system again. And I love the idea the district is taking it over. As you know, I'm chairman of the board of Metro. We got enough things to do at Metro. We don't need to be running the circulator. So we're happy to move that over to the district, who will do it faster, better, more efficient, et cetera, and bring it back to being a first-class transportation system here in the District of Columbia. So, Mayor, it's great to be with you today. Thank you all for coming out, and we really look forward to, again, returning the circulator to the greatness that it once had and will be again. Thank you.
Thanks,
all right.
Thank you. Now I would like to introduce Paul Smith, who is from New Flyer, and they manufactured our new buses. Paul?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Probably should have wore a gray suit today. First of all, thanks to the DC DOT staff for making this order happen. We're extremely proud to be delivering more buses to Washington, D.C., as it's a showcase across America. New Flyer is extremely proud of our partnership with Washington, D.C., not only because we're committed to the district's zero-emission goal, but also because through D.C., we're able to showcase to 50 states and around the world America's commitment to energy efficiency. Our new Flyer Xcelsior buses will be in service starting this week. First, I'd like to praise Mayor Muriel Bowser and everyone in D.C. for recognizing the need to improve our environment and the residents' quality of life. Not only will these buses help significantly reduce air pollution and noise in the streets of D.C., but they'll also cost less to operate and maintain. New Flyer of America is committed to providing the best service to the DC Circulator. Our buses operate on clean diesel, offer better fuel capacity, and greater passenger comfort for this model on the market. New Flyer buses are also proudly built and sourced in America. Our company also creates thousands of jobs across the United States, and we are committed to a diverse and inclusive workforce. I'd also like to highlight that New Flyer of America buses are the most advanced buses available on the market today. These buses here, and I know that these words have been said, but it's a commitment from New Flyer. These buses here today that will roll out this week are designed and manufactured with the latest technology that are safe, reliable, durable, but most importantly, clean. Thank you.
Thank you. I like it. Okay, so we can take a few questions on topic, and then I'll be available. Step up, gentlemen, for all the hard questions. All right. Martin, you're first, and lady, step up.
Mayor,
yes, sir.
Martin DeCaro with WA News. As you know, the Circulator's performance has been pretty poor lately. On-time performance was 52% in April. And it's not just a function of old buses. There are only 3 maintenance bays, up from 2. Many of the mechanics, actually none of them, has ASC certification. How can you guarantee to the riding public that these new buses aren't going to suffer the same fate as the other buses?
Well, I think you heard Leif already, Martin, talk about the age of the buses and how many riders and miles that we put on them since 2005. They have outlived their most useful life, and it is really time to replace them. You also point out something that we are very engaged in, and that is finding a new facility so that we can not only increase the space, but have a better system of preventive maintenance at our maintenance facilities, and we're engaged in that process as we speak.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Maybe Director Gonzo would be in a position to answer it. I've been trying to get the most recent performance audit, the one that after they come out every 3 months. The most recent one I have is January. That said there were no mechanics with ASC certification, that they are making mistakes, they're not having the highest possible qualifications. Is that still the case today here in August?
We're happy to release the next audit, as we have been doing since I commissioned these independent audits from the very beginning. I would also want to point out that a lot of the issues with the legacy fleet have to do with systems that we need third-party vendors and mechanics, repairmen to make interventions on. For instance, the air conditioning unit. So focusing just simply on the credentials of the mechanics that are employed by First Transit, I think kind of misses the entire situation. But that being said, we're working with First Transit and some of their resources in the region, principally at BWI Airport, to make sure that we have the right credentialed technicians. But ultimately, the process of going through an RFP that's truly competitive and has the benefit of a owner-controlled storage and maintenance facility is where we need to go. So, and that process, as I said, has begun formally, and WMATA is helping us get to a state where we have more direct control over our fleet.
Yes.
Max Smith with WTOP, just to follow up with there. So are we confident that these buses will be taken care of properly, given how long it will take to have a maintenance base available?
Yes.
Since these new buses, I'm guessing, required a lot of money, does that mean that the riders should expect an increase in their rates?
No, the fare on the DC Circulator is $1. The most recently approved budget by the council maintains a $1 fare on the DC Circulator. Yes, Sam.
So, I just saw a Metro bus drive by. So it's the same buses as the Metro bus, and how much are they a copy?
I don't know how similar they are. Well, first of all, they're DC Circulator. They're our routes. We determine exactly where they go and what the fares are. Should we recommend a change to the routes or service, then we would take that information directly to the public. What Leif talked about a little bit earlier was that we have been, I don't know for how many years, using Metro to help us manage the contractor. Over the next year, we're unwinding that relationship, and the contractor will be directly managed by DDOT personnel.
Are they the same buses that Metro has? So I saw one just drive by, and how much are they a copy?
Buses across the nation are very similar in a lot of aspects. When you look at engines, transmissions, axles, suspension systems, seats, air conditioning, etc. There are some uniqueness to each and every bus, but nothing that would make it so unique that it's a completely different bus. The good news is, when you look at a bus in WMATA, you look at a bus with DC DOT, the similarities will certainly allow for easier maintenance. Plus, these buses come with a factory warranty that will certainly help in the first year or two of operating these buses. I don't have those numbers handy, but they'd be fairly similar.
And do you also sell buses to Metro, the same ones?
1 second. You asked the question. They will answer what we invested in the new buses.
Yeah, we can get you the exact figures, but the overall purchase was $15 million. And it's 20. You can probably do the math yourself, Sam. It's 20, or we have people here that can assist you. 20. Yeah, it's right. As I said, 15. It's 14.5 million, and there's 26 units. So you can get the per copy cost by dividing the value by the number of equipment. Yeah.
Up to 40, and then the second wave.
No, that's the first 26. That's the new Flyer, and then we're buying from a separate manufacturer all electric buses, and those buses are a little bit more expensive because they come with battery propulsion, and that purchase is about $15.5 million. That's from Proterra, which is a separate manufacturer, and you guys can come to another event to welcome those buses to the fleet later this year.
Life expectancy is on these first 20-some buses that you're rolling out today?
With proper maintenance and a midlife overhaul, it should be 12 to 14 years. I got that.
Sorry.
Yep.
Respectfully, you didn't answer my question, though, about the mechanics before. Do you currently have, over the next year, adequate number of mechanics, and do they have the proper qualifications to fix these buses?
We have... For the repairs that are going to be needed in terms of preventative maintenance, frankly, the technicians that we have with First Transit are probably more qualified to do those types of repairs. What you have to understand is that a lot of the major component parts and systems, when we're talking about vehicles that are in their 12th and 13th year, the mechanics had to send the vehicles out to another off-site vendor. So it's kind of a misapplication of a particular standard. We want to have technicians who are doing preventative maintenance, predictive maintenance to ward off system failures. And we have to also budget for these midlife overhauls. That had not occurred in the past. As I said before, we've got the right technicians for the equipment, but we've got to get the maintenance facility, and we've got to, as the mayor committed to, and I've committed to, starting the process of taking direct control of the management of the contract.
Okay, let's do it. Yes, sir.
Steve with WMAL. Given that DDOT is taking more direct control here, is this kind of an indictment on privatization of transit services? And we're seeing with the Metro Board that there's some members that might want to see more privatization.
We're actually going to continue to use a third-party provider. And what's changing is not that we'll use a third-party provider, but that we won't use Metro to help manage it. And so that's what the difference is. We will, I think, next year begin the process, because we're coming up on the end of our agreement with First Transit, and it will be competed again. But we will continue to have a third-party provider.
Sort of a culture change in that shift in providers?
I don't know that we're going to have a change in providers, because we're going to compete it, and so we'll see who the new provider will be. Our expectations will be the same, that we have qualified personnel, that the personnel are properly trained, they have great customer service, and they believe and have a commitment to safe and reliable service like we do. Yes, off topic. Martin.
National Night Out tonight.
Yes.
We just had a really violent spree in the District of Columbia. There's been no arrests. What do you tell residents on National Night Out after seeing this violence play out on the streets about the investigation and about their safety on the streets?
We certainly had a tough weekend, Mark, and a tough several days after the weekend. And what I will tell them is that our police department is vigilant, all the way from the chief down to the lieutenants and the officers who are walking the beat. We ask that our community continue to work with them so that we can quickly solve crimes. We know that's important. I also tell them overall in our city, and we continue to see this, and we're going to continue to be vigilant about it, we have crime down in every major violent crime category. But we cannot rest because we know at any time and any weekend in a big city, you can have violence. We're also very focused, and we continue to ask our residents to partner with us in finding illegal guns and taking illegal guns off the street. So that will be our message in each of the 7 police districts tonight and every day, for that matter. Sam?
And National Night Out, does it help? What does it do?
Yes. National Night Out is a reminder of what we see in communities all the time. Police and communities coming together. We know that when there is violence, we want a community member to trust the police enough to call them to tell us what happened so we can bring the perpetrators of violence to justice. There's no neighborhood anywhere in the district where they want to see people using guns recklessly. Sometimes the gun reaches its intended target. Other times, it doesn't. And they're innocent people who get in the middle of 2 people fighting. And so we want to alert our community members to let us know when they know about an illegal gun. Let us know if they know about altercations before they happen, before they turn violent, so that we can get mediators and people out to work with community members.
Crime overall is down. Is it the weather? What are your thoughts?
Well, this is my thought, that it can happen anytime. It can happen when it's hot. It can happen when it's cold. What I know is that people who are not dealing with conflicts in a reasonable way and have guns, that situation, small or big issue, can turn violent. So I want our communities to focus on where the illegal guns are and let the police get involved. Yes.
What did you and the Interior Secretary discuss when you toured MPS sites last week? Did you ask him for anything, and what was his response?
We discussed the transfer of sites. I think you know this is one of them. This has already been the subject of a committee hearing and a markup on Capitol Hill, and we expect it to be voted out by the full Congress, if it hasn't already happened, to give us a cooperative management agreement with the Park Service. So what we will do, the council has already approved my request to put, I think, $15 million, maybe $18 million, you remember, Jack, into the transformation of this park. And it will help activate this park with several amenities that will make it more welcoming for visitors and office goers and residents of Washington, D.C. We also visited RFK. We went to Langston Golf Course, and we went to Beach Drive.
Did he have any supportive or negative words about whatever you may have asked him for, requested, or brought up with him about those other sites?
Yes. So I think generally he was there to gather information, to understand what the city's needs are, to hear how we think the federal government can be helpful. So there weren't, a couple of things we just wanted them to watch, like Beach Drive, to make sure it stays on schedule. I think in a couple of weeks, the second portion of the Beach Drive renovation is going to start. We got an opportunity with the Secretary and with USDOT to make sure we knew which personnel were responsible and that we could stay on track.
Do you have a partner with him?
Well, it's certainly my job to make sure we're working with everybody in the federal government to get things done for the district. And so I start every conversation with the hope that we have a willing partner. And we have a good plan. We're not going hat in hand. We're saying we're willing to put our local dollars towards making your property better. And it's going to be better for the residents of the District of Columbia. And that's a couple of cases. Yes, last question.
What future do you see with the RFK site? Was the Secretary amenable to that?
I think the Secretary was there particularly around RFK to learn more about the site, to put eyes on the site, and to recognize what we need. We need an extension of our lease, and we need the covenant removed that restricts the use of that land to only a sports and entertainment use. We know that a future of RFK, whether there's an NFL stadium or not, has to have a mix of uses. It has to have, for our neighborhoods, it has to have, we're planning soccer facilities. We're also looking at a memorial to RFK when the stadium comes down, which is very important to us. We're looking at connections between the current RFK site and across the Anacostia River to enliven it. But we know we also need housing in the district. And anytime you have that much land, it has to be considered for a housing use. So we're grateful to our Congresswoman who has presented a bill to extend our lease. But we also want to make it perfectly clear that for the district to be involved, we need a mix of uses. Thank you, everybody. We're going to take a look at the buses. You could walk this way.